Do you remember, Cordelia, when you came home for dinner on a Friday evening, like you always did, and you said to me, "Mum, what do you think this is?" And you showed me that above your right breast there was a very angry, hot rash, and your whole breast had gone hard like a brick. You said to me, "What do you think that is?"
You said you thought it might be an infection and that I might need some antibiotics or something, and that Dad would take me to A&E the following morning.
That's right. And I must say that it never crossed my mind that it could be cancer, because I assumed that if you had a tumour, it would start off with a small or medium-sized lump that you would have noticed. Dad took you to A&E at 7 o'clock on the Sunday morning, and I just went off to play tennis like I normally do on Sunday. And then you and Dad turned up at the tennis club when you'd been at the hospital. You said that you'd seen a number of doctors, and one of them was pretty sure that it was cancer.
The breast care clinic was all full of mothers and daughters, and it would generally be the mother with breast cancer and the pregnant daughter or the daughter with a small child being there looking after her mum. So I know that that's been very difficult for both of us, that we are the other way round.
What everybody said at first was, "Oh, I've had breast cancer and I'm fine," or "My grandmother had breast cancer and she's fine." That was extremely aggravating, because Cordelia's experience is totally outside the experience of about 99% of people who have breast cancer, because hers had spread into her skin, it was going to be very, very difficult to do anything about. As you know, one of the things that really annoys us about other people's reaction is all the questions they ask.
So I've written an article actually about things not to say to someone with a diagnosis of a severe or life-threatening illness. Every time someone says something, been sort of thinking, yeah, this is something for the list, this is something not to say.
Having to explain to everybody exactly why Cordelia couldn't have this treatment or that treatment and why it was going to take so long, it just wore us out. And eventually I just started saying to people, please don't ask any questions.
I did a creative writing MA a few years ago, and I have got a bunch of writing friends. And my best friend told me that she was going to write a blog about her running. I just thought, right, if she's doing a blog, I'm going to do a blog as well. And my brother was staying with me at the time, and he said, well, Cordelia, the thing is that blogs can tend towards the mediocre. Writing every day about stuff, it can be very tedious. And I said, so how will I make my blog not tedious? And he said, well, you've got to have a topic that is interesting and unusual. So I said to my brother, why don't I, start dating again and write a blog about dating after breast cancer surgery? And he said, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. But then, unfortunately, I found that it had come back in my skin. So now there are hospitals and scans and things in the blog. But a lot of it is about meeting the chaps and what happens on the dates and, the new problems that I've now got about covering up my scars if I do, and being a bit fatter, and what to say if they ask me what I've been doing that day, when what I've been doing that day is having some scans at the hospital. And I hope it is interesting. Some people find it interesting.
It is very funny. You put me in it sometimes, and Dad, and your cat, and I'm always complaining if I don't get a good part.
Yes.
Sometimes you present me in rather a negative way, and then I have to phone you up and tell you off about that.
Yeah, and I explained that I give myself the good lines because it is my blog.
Yes.
There was this unfortunate incident. Mum asked me if she could come and stay at my flat. And I said, no, I'm going on a date. I'm not running the Bates Motel. I'm not coming back from my date and having my elderly mother creeping around the flat. And Mum took exception to that.
Well, you wrote that in the blog, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Yes.
wrote that in the blog.
Yes, you didn't just say it to me. You wrote it in the blog.
Yeah.
So that everybody who reads your blog could see that. That's why I took exception to it.
I have had comments that that was a very funny episode of the blog.
Right. Well, it was worth it then.
It was.